It's ZynVaded week on the Game Room from the fantastic independent game maker We Have Issues Publishing. Like, subscribe, and comment all week for your chance to win the choice of a 2-player starter box or the new Don't Let the Zbugs Bite starter box. You'll also get your choice of 2 Mercs models when the Kickstarter ships. The winner will be chosen from the YouTube comments on this week's videos, so get those comments in for your chance to win. It's ZynVaded week on the Game Room.
Welcome to the game. All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. It is the middle of ZynVaded week 2, and again, we are talking with the ZynVaded creator, John Vogel. John, my friend, welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here, bud.
I was just noticing your Gen Con lanyards right behind you, and laughing because I have mine hung up right here. Right there. They're hung up right over there, so that was kind of funny that you had them up as well.
Yeah.
Hey, and I always look weird in these because my camera's down here, but I'm looking at this. Just a weird. I don't know why this laptop didn't do that. Anyway,
it's an odd place for them to put it.
It is. So last time we talked, ZynVaded was in the middle of its Kickstarter, and it had ended right after Christmas. It ended successfully. And what has been going on since the Kickstarter ended?
All right. Well, we got work done on some of the figures while we're waiting for the funding to push through from Kickstarter, and then once it did, we worked on getting the backer kit set up, which was a little more complicated than the last time we used backer kits. So a couple more hoops to jump through and all that, but we seem to get that sorted out. And I've honestly just been kind of plugging away at the different figures. During the campaign, we funded to have all the physical miniatures we'd already made scanned in digitally, as well as some things that we didn't get to produce at the time. We just went ahead and scanned those digitally as well. So in addition to sculpting the figures that haven't been done at all yet, just pure digital sculpts, I've been actually cleaning up the scanned figures like the Mercs and the Zen and Terra and stuff like that, like just crisping them up a little bit, making sure seams are sealed and things like that. So,
but the video froze on me all of a sudden. Let's see, there he goes. All right. Okay. So how is having those scanned in? Or are we still looking at having them printed? Last time we kind of talked, we were kind of thinking whether they're 3D printed or if you're going to send them somewhere to have them printed.
For right now, right now for the numbers we have that we'll be producing, I believe we're just going to stick with the print on demand for the moment. If we start getting to the point where we can't keep up with the demand, then we'll look to get outside, done for now. But it's just so expensive to get tools made and all that it would take a pretty epic level funding drive to get that going. So. Right. In addition to that, we have been I know there were some people that asked during the campaign if we were going to do a print on demand function where you could just buy the STLs. Right. And we have been making headway into finding a location to start that up at. It won't be going anytime soon, but we're hoping by end of the year, maybe beginning of next year, we can get that going so people can print their own figures if they'd like.
Oh, that would be great. I think
that's what we figured, because I just feel so bad. There's so many people overseas, like in Europe and things like that, that had wanted to back, but shipping is just ridiculous. So it's awesome. I'm hoping we can get that set up for them, because I don't want anybody to miss out playing the game because they couldn't afford to have it shipped to them. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, and it's such a simple, fun game that literally you can play anywhere. And that's one of the things we talked about last time is there's no terrain for this game because the terrain is your house, your dinner table. Take it to the restaurant and play across the table. It's such a fascinating concept of simplicity. It's just all you need is the 3 models on each side and you're good to go. You have everything you need to play this game.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things I liked about when we were coming up with it. So
So you have sent me a whole bunch of pictures of stuff that you've been working on. Can we share and talk about those a little bit?
Sounds good.
All right, let's see if I can get this to work for us. All right.
All right.
So, what do we have here? This guy looks like a beast.
Yep, he's not complete. He's not fully complete. He is still a work in progress, but he's about 50 to 75% done. That is the brawler. Now he's a kill all or save 'em hand combat monster basically. And the idea was to have him set up as a hunter for ZynVaded, the Don't Let the Zed Bugs Bite, but he'd also fill the support role for a Zyn team, either Terra or not Terra, either kill all or save 'em.
So add this guy to either one of your starter box forces, and you're ready to run.
Yep, have him in place of the heavy machine gunner. Yep.
This guy is huge. How big is he compared to the heavy gunner?
Height-wise, I believe he's just a touch smaller, just a little bit shorter. But his base is going to be about the same size. So he'll take up the same base footprint. It's just his height isn't quite the size of a support.
Okay. Because you can tell it's a regular sized inside of a big armature. So
exactly. He's got like an exoskeleton thing on him, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Very, very cool. This one I found, this is one of the new grubs, correct?
Yes, that's the grub chuck.
That's such a terrible thing. That's awesome. So this, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, so these guys, what they'll do is they roam around, like when you're playing in the AI mode, where you're a hunter and the Zeds are roaming on AI. When they roam around, if they get within BP range of a target, they spew a stream of goo at them. You know, like caustic, kind of gross onto the hunters.
Oh, that's gonna be a blast.
Yep.
It is a great looking model.
Thanks.
All right, now this next one is the Grubhenith, correct?
Yes, it is. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, he is basically just an absolute enormous tank of a grub. He's going to be able to like barrel in and plow through people, knock them back, knock them down, that sort of deal, and take big hideous bites out of them.
Is he gonna play in the standard game, or is he gonna be like a boss battle, or have you determined that yet?
As far as Zed Bugs go, we're looking at doing a determination when playing certain missions. He'll feature in the mission itself. As far as his role in a standard Zed Bugs force, if you're playing ZynVaded, the regular game, and you're using the Zed Bugs as your faction team, he'll be in there as well. He'll probably be one of the support choices you can take.
That would make sense. I love this, the bite marks on his rump there. Now you know how he...
now we know how he turned.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's see, what do we got here now? These are the... these are supply tokens, or these objective tokens?
Objective tokens. Right there where your mouse is, that's a weapons case. That's the early version of it. I've got them I zinned them up a bit more. I had started up, it's kind of thinned out and all that, but I kind of beefed them up a bit. So the one is empty, so you can pretend whatever's in there is in there, but the one next to it has the combat shotgun in it. And then there are ones that have grenades, and then others that have like specific equipment, specialized equipment. And that'll be mission centric. So
yeah, that is neat. And this, we have a small computer terminal.
Yep, and actually that's version 1.0. I apologize, I didn't have a chance to snapshot some of the more recent stuff. I will definitely get some updated pics that we'll post. You know, you can post and we'll post as well. So it's a slightly bit altered, but for the most part, fundamentally the facing of it looks the same. It's just the back got thinned down, and there's more cabling and stuff like that. It's just a data terminal to access.
You have the open crate here.
Yeah, that's the bits parts box. So in a couple of the missions, you'll be required to actually find that so you can repair either an escape craft or, honestly, a tick battle suit.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. A tick battle suit would be great.
Yep, that is the Tactical Infantry Combat Carapace, or tick. There'll be one used. It'll be the focal point of a couple different missions in which you'll have to get to the tick and get the parts to fix it, so you can actually hop in, operate it, and fight your way out.
Okay, that's cool. So, for those of you who are watching this, we'll put a link to its backer kit. So if you haven't already backed this, or if you're interested, it is still open until the end of April. So we're getting close. You still got a few more days.
Yeah, we're gonna leave the backer kit up as long as we can for pre-orders,
awesome.
while we're finishing up sculpting and processing, the Kickstarter orders. The pre-orders will go out after the Kickstarters go. But there shouldn't be very much of a gap between the two. It shouldn't be a very long delay from one to the other. We just want to make sure we're filling the Kickstarters first, because they're the ones that backed and got us through the hump. So we're going to make sure theirs go out first, and then pre-orders will go right out behind them. So we're trying to hold that open as long as we can. And being that we're the ones making them, we should be able to hold out a little bit.
That's awesome. That's the way it should be. I was a Kickstarter backer. I want my toys. This last one I find is really cool. It's like the candy token. You got like your standard star, fire, peppermint candy there. Is that a Pez?
That's a Pez, yeah.
And then the last
M&M
one
or Skittle.
M&M or whatever.
Or Skittle, yeah.
Or Skittle, whatever candy you want it to be. That's just, these are great.
Yep, and what that'll do is that represents your faction's energy and health and stuff like that. So what you can do is you'll find that to either bring back to the hive to keep your people fed, or right on the spot you'll be able to use it to get health back.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I keep hearing strains of a campaign here. Keeping yours in, get it back to the hive, keep them alive.
Well, that's the thing with ZynVaded. You can do it as a series of just one-off games. I mean, you can if that's all you choose to play, that's all you need to play. But we do have a campaign system in place. We just have to we're going to try to flesh it out for everybody, so that while you're playing, your characters actually get better. They get better at shooting. They get better at combat. They get better speed. They get more health points, things like that.
That's very cool.
More actions and whatnot. So,
all right, let's take a look. This guy is awesome.
Yep, that is the Rocket Trooper. Now, we did originally have one back in version 1, and I tried to kind of borrow some of the same elements, but obviously it's a little more ramped up than that one was. So,
yeah, I remember seeing pictures of it. I don't actually have one, but I do remember seeing some pictures, and he did not look this beefy.
No, compared to the the smaller leader and scout figures, they were beefier, but like nothing like this.
Very cool. Rocket pack, and what is this he's holding here?
That's the chainsaw.
Chainsaw. Oh, wow.
Yep, that's the hand-to-hand combat weapon.
Excellent. This is very rapidly going to be. Oh, there's a better picture of him right there.
Yeah.
This is a great model. Very, very cool.
Thank you.
All right.
That's the medic. So that's the other support choice. And again, that's version 1.0. It's a little like I enlarged the head because it looks like he's got a pinhead. So
a little small.
Yeah, we beefed up the head, beefed up the servo arm, beefed up the connector to the syringe gun. So basically his deal is he's more of like a buff type of deal. He'll be able to, with the syringe gun, he can either help his teammates from a distance. He can actually fire a syringe to build up their body points and heal them, or he can take body points away from the enemy, depending on what concoction he fires. That's cool. So he's offensive and defensive. Yep. And he's not going to be super skilled in combat. He's literally meant for support on this.
Right.
But The one nice thing is he does have a surgical precision to him, so that if somebody does get into combat, if he scores a hit on you, he can automatically call 1 point of damage.
Nice.
Yeah, he won't have to roll for piercing.
I like the way you have these arms set up to look like he's punching something into the data pad there.
Yeah. Now they're separate on here. The Kickstarter figures and the initial wave of these, all these figures are going to be printed as one piece. They're ready to play right out of the package for everybody. We are looking for down the line, probably end of the year, beginning of next, we're going to be doing a series for people that are more interested in the painting aspect, where you'll have the separate parts like this to make it easier for people to get in and get the painting done. It's not a bad gap for your tabletop painters and people who aren't, like meticulous and spend 5 to 7 hours, per square inch on a figure. It should be easy enough to get to. We had our studio painter look at the figures at one piece, and they'll get the job done for you if you're a casual painter but more into the gaming aspect of it. Right. But for people that are more into purchasing these for just painting, above all, we'll have more of an artistic series available for them that'll have limbs that are out of the way and parts that they're able to be taken off and moved out of the way.
That's very, very cool. For those of you who are just watching this video, this week during ZynVaded, we actually built every model, different videos, every model that comes in your 2-player starter box. And the reason for that, somebody had questioned, why are we doing that? I actually got asked several times. Somebody had asked for a video. When I did the demos for this back in November, one of the parents came back to the store and asked me, he's like, how do we put these together? Because there are lots of parts and no instructions on how to put them together. They're kind of self-explanatory, but if you're not a miniature gamer, which was funny because everybody that bought the game when I did the demos were all card game players. Yeah. And they walked out with this game because it blew them away, but their concern was, how do I put these together? So I wanted to do the series of here's how you build all these models, mainly for the new mini players that this game appeals to.
I really appreciate that you did that, by the way, because unfortunately that was a real oversight on our part. Unfortunately, because we are miniature gamers, it didn't dawn on me to try to put together anything for that, because with, it's only a couple pieces per, and, to me, obviously, because I made them, it seemed pretty easy to figure out. Just didn't even think of the fact that we're trying to target a demographic that isn't necessarily miniature gamers.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that was a serious oversight on my part, and I'm just thrilled to death that you're kind of covering my laps on that one. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I know that I think going forward, as part of looking at, because we were talking about the new updated rule book before, of adding in, we'll probably add in a QR code to the new rule book that says, hey, how to build your model. Here's video links, and then you can go and do that without having to look at all these instructions. So,
I love that idea. Yeah, definitely.
And it was fun because I had one starter box left and was given it as a gift for Christmas. So it worked out really well. And
that's fantastic. And so as you can see on the back of the medic there, that's actually their symbol for like a medical unit. And it looks kind of like a video game controller.
It sure does. Exactly what it does.
Yeah, that was our studio painter. He helps design the figures too. And so that was his thought on that. So he thought it would be kind of fun.
I think that's great. And I mean, just the detail that you put into this, rather than just having his fingers, you actually have the strap over his finger, so it looks like he's really got a real device.
Yeah.
It's just the amount of detail you put into these is just incredible.
Well, and I'm trying to put the right amount without overdoing it, because we are still trying to go for that kind of Saturday morning cartoon feel. But with digital, it's just so easy to kind of get lost in it and overwork it. So I'm still trying to make sure I'm keeping it fairly level, Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this model. This is really cool.
Thank you.
I haven't seen a model I didn't like. Oh, here he is built.
Yep.
As you can tell, folks, I just got these pictures this evening. I have not had a chance to go through them all. So y'all are seeing them when I'm seeing some of these. So this is really neat. Yeah, I like that. That's a very cool. I like it. It's just all right.
Thanks, man.
I'll stop geeking out. Lots of pictures of this guy.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, here's what I did. As you can see next to him is the heavy machine gunner that he's halfway through the cleaning process. He's obviously, you can see there was a lot of kind of a dust up scattering on it, but he was the first model I was practicing on to practice cleaning them up.
Right.
And I put him next to the rocket trooper so you can see the scale of it. So you can see they're basically about the same height.
Yeah, that's really cool. So this is how you get it after it's been scanned in?
Yeah, a lot of them. And so I just polished. Yep, so I polished it on that. Yep.
That's very cool. I had no idea how that actually worked. I'd not seen that before.
That was just a little close up. So yeah, sorry. I know there's a lot. I apologize. There's so many of the same figure.
He's a really, really cool model. So there's all three of them next to each other.
Yeah, but there's all three of them together, so you get a sense of the size of them. So if you know what the heavy machine gunner looks like, and if you've seen it, if you've held them, those guys are just about the same size as him.
That is actually that's a good shot right there, because I was kind of wondering what the scale looked like, and
yeah,
that shows. That's very cool.
Thank you.
Now this guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now he has gone through a couple of changes. I cleaned up his face a bit. I cleaned up the gun belts, both on his shoulder and on the guns. I added the grenade launcher belt with the grenades. I added the grenades in on that. And then I will be adjusting his axe a little bit, the X-Acto axe, just so that's less fragile and less chance of breakage.
Right.
But otherwise, the backpack on him, that box up top, will not be there. It actually got shifted to lower on his back, held on with straps onto a shoulder mount up top.
Okay.
I don't know if I sent those pictures. God, I hope I did. I apologize if I didn't.
Well, here's another version of him.
Yes. Now, I'm glad you got this picture. So what this guy is, this version here is the con exclusive version. You'll have his arms will be on pegs, so you can pop that forearm either with the 9mm bullet, or this one here will be able to pop into the elbow, and yep, right there. And then if you go to the next one, see where the base of the bullet is there. Yep, right there. That's on a big peg that comes up out of his back. And so you'll be able to choose which one you want to use. And so what we're doing is, for the Kickstarter folks, we're sending them this. This wasn't part of the deal originally, but I'm getting it cleaned up and fixed up in time that we're going to send them that as well.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so all our Kickstarters will have that automatically. You don't have to worry about catching them at the show.
That's very, very cool.
It does the same thing as the 9mm. It's because it's a one-shot weapon.
Right.
And the fun part about that is, if you roll really good, it does a tremendous amount of damage. If you roll really bad, it does you a tremendous amount of damage. So it kind of is what it is with that. But it's only kind of an aesthetics thing. The bigger bullet doesn't do anything except look cool. And mounted on the back will be basically, there's a servo arm that's holding a nail to the primer on the back of the bullet. And then there's a grub up top with a hammer in its mouth that's going to smack the nail to fire. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I wasn't sure I sent that pic.
That
keep in mind,
cool.
that's a placeholder grub. That's not the real grub that's going to be there. I was just mocking it up to see what it would look like. And then you can see you can see the ammo on his back.
Yep.
That's in place of that big card up at the top.
That looks cool. This is so fun.
Yeah, and then if you have the 9mm instead of this one here, there's a swinging servo arm that spins around on his back that'll basically as a reloader. Because one of his special abilities is, if anybody on his team is within I think like 3 inches of him. If they jam, they ignore the jam and they get to keep firing their weapon.
Cool.
It'll just be, the jam will just be treated like a missed shot.
That's very cool. God, this is, I love this model. This is such just a concept. I realize this isn't the actual one, but just the concept is amazing.
Yeah.
That's just awesome. Oh, here's
There it is. There's the servo backpack.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that took the better part of probably a day or so to build, with all just the individual parts on it to make the track and everything for that thing to scoot around.
The amount of love that goes into each one of these is amazing.
Thank you.
There's another shot of it.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just and he's the same size as the other support, right?
Actually, he stands a little taller.
A little taller.
Yeah, he's a little beefier. He's a little beefier than the Zyn supports. And he's also from the Terra. In case I didn't mention, I couldn't remember if I did or not. But he's
cool.
one of the Terra supports. So instead of the Hooligan, you can take him.
That is very cool. The Terra is the only thing that I have not covered in either ZynVaded week, just because the models haven't been available.
Yeah,
so
sorry about that.
Maybe we'll do a ZynVaded week 3 after the Kickstarter.
After it ships,
there. Yeah. I've not covered a game quite as much. It's just a fun game. It's so silly.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Blast.
And that's the painted Grubhenith.
That is really cool. I like the comic book style painting.
Yeah, our studio painter Chad Obenauer, he crushes it, man. He's been really working that comic book style.
That is really cool. I like that. And they painted bits box.
Yep, the bits parts box.
Why'd you shrink? No, that's the candy. I want to see that one bigger. Zoom in.
Yeah, I apologize. These shots were sent by him, so not all of them were super clean. I apologize.
Hey, I'm just privileged to see this stuff this far in advance, because I know when are you looking to ship? Sometime late summer, early fall, late fall.
Well, we're basically planning for end of June.
Oh, awesome.
We'd like to have everything done before we have to go to Gen Con. So we're going to be just crushing production. Between now, we've already started production on all the basics anyway. And so while I'm working on finishing up the specialty figures, the new hunters, the scanned in items and all that, we're producing the stuff's already been ready to go, which is like the Zed bugs, the necromancer, Amos, the hunter. And then, yeah, all those. So they're in production while we're fixing up the rest of it. So
this is an amazing paint job on these. This is really cool.
Oh, yeah, he does fantastic work.
Oh, I love that one.
That is the burst grub. Now, we haven't thought of a better name for it yet. We're still working on that, so that's just a placeholder. But the great part about these guys is, regardless of like if you're doing them with AI or if you're controlling them as a Zedbugs player for a faction team, they roam about the battlefield, and when they get closer to target, they pop with all sorts of crazy caustic awfulness. And then once they pop, you redeploy using the rules for Stray. You put them back on the board.
They just keep coming at you. That's good stuff. Another shot of the bits box. Oh, there's the front of him. Yeah, he looks like he's about ready to go.
And we actually did, because they and the Grub Chucks come in a 2-pack. I actually altered the sculpts just a little bit, so they're not both the same.
That's cool, and the fans will thank you for that. You know, that is just
that's what we've always tried to do. We just, like with the starter box, you notice that there's 2 different snipers, yes, 2 different sergeants, 2 different heavy machine gunners. Yep. We just didn't want the same sculpt for each side. Yes, it's the same figure, but it shouldn't have to be the same figure.
Yes, agreed. And that was one of the things I talked about when I was doing the painting videos that are either airing. This is Wednesday of ZynVaded week. I'm hoping to get this video out tomorrow. So the Thursday. But what I'm talking about is I built all 6 figures, and I'm like, which one do I think looks better with which? So, you don't, Sergeant A or Sergeant B doesn't have to go with Sniper A. It could go with Sniper B. You could switch them around.
No.
It's really neat that my force doesn't necessarily look like your force.
Exactly. And see, that's the thing. Like we have them set up the way we have them set up just because that's the way it worked out. But by no means are you expected to keep it the way we have it. You don't have to have the female heavy machine gunner with the male sniper and the sergeant with the dice on his base. Right. You can mix them up any way you want them. I mean, that's perfectly fine. We want people to have fun and create the team that works for them. So now this is the painted Grub Chuck.
This is great. I would have never thought of the purple color. That looks awesome.
Yeah, he's again. Oh my God, I can't say enough good things about him. He is such an excellent painter.
With the green and the ooze, this is awesome. Oh, these guys are going to be fun to paint and get on the board.
Yep. Oh, there's the burst grub from up top.
Yeah, it's Chad did an amazing job on these.
Yeah, like I said, he's excellent. He doesn't think so, but he's excellent.
Oh no, these are fantastic. He really does a good job with these.
Coming right at you. There we go.
Front shot.
You can almost feel it coming at you.
Yeah, you can. That's just like, ugh, gross.
Okay. So, perfect example of cleaning up. This is Diesel from the Mercs.
Right.
And he's kind of the pitch black Vin Diesel wannabe.
Right.
And so in addition to kind of cleaning him up a little bit, I didn't change a lot because I didn't want to really change the original look of them. I still like the original look of them.
Right.
But as you can see, I did clean the face up a little bit. I made the goggles look a little more defined. And then as you can see, I did add the teacup.
I was noticing that.
One of his weapons is the teacup.
It is.
And so if you remember from Chronicles of Riddick,
right,
he had a teacup that he took out some guys with.
Yep.
So we had one of our backers ask me, well, what about those of us who already have him? Is there any way we can get a teacup? So I'm working on sculpting a small little bit that you'll be able to either come by the booth to get, or we'll probably just send them out in all the Kickstarters and the pre-orders, just in case people have him already. We'll send them the little tiny bit that'll just clip right onto a finger.
That's awesome, because I already have him.
Exactly.
And that's the first thing I noticed is, hey, mine doesn't have that teacup.
Yep.
I want one. That's very cool. And that's just neat. That just shows that your care and your appreciation to the Kickstarters who backed your project to help you get this through. And I don't know if you realize how much that actually means to us who, us Kickstarters, and I've backed a lot of Kickstarters, who put the money into it, and you do those little extras. They really do mean a lot.
Well, I want everybody to realize how much we appreciate them. I mean, if it weren't for folks like you, we wouldn't be able to keep doing this. And with your guys' help, we'll hopefully just keep getting bigger and bigger, and we can really get this out there and really make something crazy awesome with it. So
yeah, that's just neat. That's a neat little extra there.
Okay, so now this is the most recent version of the Brawler.
That's cool.
Yes, as you can see, a lot more detail was added.
Head looks much better, much more proportion to.
Exactly, and we figured that the helmet would be a better suit for instead of having the basic little helmet. We wanted to give him a Brawler helmet.
No, this looks great. Yes,
I'm actually pretty happy with him. I really like how he's turning out.
I really like this one. This is a great update to what we looked at a little while ago.
And now you can see there's a pretty healthy mix of digital and original sculpt, because if you look at the little walker feet below his feet, those were actually hand sculpted battle pod feet that I'm reusing as part of the exoframe, because I still there's so much of him that's an original sculpt, a physical sculpt that got scanned. Right. I wanted to make sure that there was a nice leverage of both so that it blended better than just throwing a bunch of new parts on a hand sculpted model. So
this is great.
And
this is really neat.
Just so you guys know, I am working at making him modular, so his arms will be separate and the gun will be separate, hopefully. If I can't get the gun to be separate, so be it, but I'd really like the arms to be, so you can really pose it how you want with the arms.
Oh, that would be cool.
And then we're looking at, so you have a choice to either have the big grip hands that you could see there, or you'll be able to do 4 of those knuckle duster arms that you see, like with the maces. So you'll be able to choose which kind of brawler you get, possibly. We're still tweaking that to see, but.
So along with that, that would be 2 different stat lines as well, correct? One for the big arms.
Yes. Yeah. So it would come with 2 different stat cards. You'd have the all beat stick version, or you would have the meat fist one.
That's cool. See, now I'm just going to have to get 2 of them so I can build one of each.
Okay, now, this is the most recent look at the tick. There are still a few changes that are coming for that, okay? But it's mostly with like the body and legs of it. The arms are almost done. As you can see, we've gone and made a bunch of different arms for it. Now, they won't all come with the initial kit. Some of them are going to be saved for the Z-Bugs variant and the Terra variant, because those are coming. For everybody that purchased one of these during the Kickstarter, they got a free upgrade that'll have Terra components and Z components. Okay. So you'll have like a Z pilot, like, kind of hanging in the cockpit, or you'll have more of like a, not quite orc, but like a punk apocalypse type pilot and stuff like that for Terra. And then you'll have different bits, guns, and pieces that will be just different enough that they'll stick out a little bit more, with possible overlays for the chest and things like that to really set it off. Overlays for the chest and like the shins. So.
And the different heads here, you can just slide in whichever head you want.
That pops, yep, that pops right in and right out. Now, I know offline I had showed you the concepts for the Grub pods, for the next variant of Pods of War, which we'll cover a long time from now, but not right now. It's similar principle. You pop them in and out. As you choose a different pilot, you pop a pilot comp deal in. And what that allows us to do is we can keep making variants of pilots down the line. You'll have the same, you can choose to have your same pod, but you'll have a whole choice of different pilots. And we're actually talking about mercs, like doing the different mercs, Caps America, Diesel, things like that. So they'll be able to jump into one and have their own abilities and things to go in it.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
One pod, and you can make whatever you want out of it. That's
exactly
the idea.
Yep. And again, that's another kit we're looking to hopefully make modular as well, so you'll be able to choose, how you want it posed and what weapons and things you want on it. So I'm looking at trying to make it so that there'll be magnet spots in it. I'm still new at this, so I can't guarantee that just yet. So first generation may not have magnet holes to magnetize it. But I'm going to work my hardest to try to make that happen.
Yeah, and even if not, I mean, not everything has magnet holes today, and people are magnetized, a drill bit.
That's true. That's true.
If they really want to do that, but it is a nice to have if you can get it done.
Yeah. And that's the Swordsmaster. That's that's the version 2. We did have, I think we called them assassins in the last version, but then we also have the Terra Assassin, and it's too confusing. Yes. So they're Swordmasters now.
That is
so it's a scout choice. So if you don't want to take the sniper, if you want somebody hand to hand, this is the one for you. She's the one that gets it done.
I really like this model. This is really, really well done. She just looks really cool, a little samurai-ish as well.
Yeah.
Shot from the back. And I think that's all of the preview pictures that we have.
Yeah, I apologize I didn't have more for you, bud.
Oh, no, this was fantastic. We're going to come back up. Come on. There we go. No, this was fantastic. I really appreciate you showing that stuff off. I know some of it's early. A lot of places, companies don't like to show stuff off early. But no, I really appreciate it. That was really neat. There's some really good stuff coming.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me to show early. I just, it at least gives our backers and anybody that might be interested, it kind of gives them an idea of what's coming toward them. Like, even if it's a slightly different cosmetically, it's
Right.
going to be fundamentally the same as what you've just seen. Maybe a little beefier here and there as we test print to make sure things aren't going to snap because they're fiddly. But otherwise, you're getting as close to a peek at the final product as we can get you right now. It's not going to alter too much from there. So
I don't want to keep you too much longer. We've been talking for about, I guess about 40 minutes already. I do want to talk a little bit about what type of. We haven't seen a whole lot of the Z. We didn't have many pictures of the Z. But you said most of them were already completed.
Yeah.
And have we finished up the rules for the new game yet? Is that pretty much solidified? Is that still in testing?
I think we're still in the testing phase with that. I've got to get together with my core group, my designers and my play testers. They're kind of one and the same. It's kind of a sacred cluster that they do both. They help design
Right.
and they help play test everything. To hammer out and finalize, there really aren't a lot of differences between the base game and Don't Let the Z Bugs Bite. The biggest mechanic is just the AI factor, which is dice rolls, whichever way the dice top is pointing, that's the direction they move. It's not the distance they move necessarily. They'll move whatever distance they have on their stats, but that'll be the direction they move until they engage somebody within body point range. So the healthier your character is, the easier they are to find for the Z bugs. So that's primarily the biggest difference, other than like different level special abilities, talents, things like that.
Right.
That stuff is for the most part kind of hammered out, but I'd really like to take another look at it with everybody to make sure that they're not overly jacked up or under suited for the job. You know, we want them to be competitive, but we're trying to avoid that power creep that a lot of companies have when they release a new faction or whatever. You get that inevitable power creep and it's like, oh, this is the new hotness. They're going to crush everything. We don't want that. We want people to have a fair shake with whatever faction they already have without feeling forced to have to buy something to make it work.
Right. So, as always, I am here to help you in any way I possibly can. And I really appreciate getting a look at everything that's coming out. Is there anything that has not, I realize you got stuff that you're trying to finalize. Is there anything that you are looking to get done before, for this Kickstarter or before Gen Con, that you haven't started yet, or is just starting that you haven't really looked at or shown off yet?
Oh, the biggest ones that I'm pretty much done sculpting everything but Dash, Alice, and I still have to finish up Hobby Horse. Those are the three big ones. Hobby Horse has just got a couple little tweaks I got to do with them. But Dash and Alice are probably the furthest as far as like they got the most work left to do on them.
Right.
What I've been doing is I've been trying to focus like with the gunsmith. I worked on him all this last weekend, so he's pretty much done now. Not that the pictures show that, obviously. I apologize. I'll try to get you some updated pics to show off as soon as I can.
Awesome.
But I've been trying to focus one figure at a time, but sometimes like something will just hit me like, oh God, that'd be awesome for that. And so I'll jump over to a different figure and I'll start throwing down on them to get that idea before I forget it, type of thing.
Right.
But the rest of them, it's pretty much just digital assembly and cleanup, like for the other figures. But a lot of them are pretty much done. So I'm still looking to see if there's something kind of fun we can do for Gen Con this year, like either a figure or an accessory, possibly mission packs. We were talking about that. The playtesters have been just cranking out ideas. What we'd like to do, their idea was to basically build mission packs. You'd get like a printed mission with a couple of objects or objective markers, or maybe a special figure or some other thing that goes along with it. Just something small, nothing too overly crazy.
Right.
But you can either overlay it into an existing mission, or it would be its own thing. But you could add the elements in anywhere you want. Like say you had we'll just say a data terminal that's already coming in the objective markers pack, but say that was in with a mission pack, you could use it for that mission, or you could add it into another mission as an additional objective to it.
Actually, I think that's a great idea. That could be a lot of fun. You could do a lot of different things with that.
Oh, they've got a lot of crazy ideas. I think everybody's going to be really happily surprised.
I'm anxious to see what comes up. So end of June time frame. So that means backers will start getting their stuff middle of July-ish, towards the end of July at the latest, we hope.
That's what we're hoping, yes.
Really right before Gen Con. So that is perfect timing. That's just...
Yep. And then there are a few, obviously, that are having theirs that are just picking them up at Gen Con. So,
right.
They'll get theirs at Gen Con. So,
yeah, I actually think I signed up for that too. So that would be great. Save a few bucks on the shipping, and I'll just bring it home with me. But I think it's great timing, because people will be able to see what they got. Then they'll see what they didn't pledge for and be able to pick it up either at Gen Con or order it right away. So
exactly.
That's good stuff. Okay. Folks, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. This video is running a little long. I don't want to keep John all evening. But John, I truly appreciate this. I know the fans and those watching really appreciate the work and the love you're putting into these models, and cannot wait to see the new game come out, the new models come out, and get those on the painting table as well as on the game table.
I can't wait for you guys to get them either. I'm really excited for this. So, and thank you for everything, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. This is a fantastic game. The models are great. And I just absolutely have loved this game since the very first moment. I accidentally walked by the booth at Gen Con, and he said, "Hey, you want to check out our game?" And I stopped and said, "Sure, what is it?" And I've been hooked ever since. So it is fantastic. Like I said, when we were doing the demos at the local store, people would just walk by more curious than anything, and then, let me show you what it is, and then bam, they're hooked, and they're like, we don't know what a minis game is. We play Pokemon, or we play Yu-Gi-Oh, or whatever. We're here for the card tournament. And then they turn around and they come back and they walk out with one of the games because it made such an impact on them. They had so much fun with it. So
we kind of like our niche. We're a gateway game, so we'll get them in there. So
it's not going to cost you $200 to get into it, and everything you need comes in that one little box. So you add to it as you will. John, thank you very much for your time, sir. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, bud. You have a great evening, okay?
You too.
Bye.
Bye now.